There have been a lot of excellent first-person shooters to hit the PS3 this year, most of which feature gritty, hyper-realistic battle situations meant to make the player feel like they're in the middle of a deadly war zone. But what I want to know is, where are all the space pirates? Bulletstorm, by Polish developer People Can Fly, alongside Epic Games, is a shooter that puts the wild, crazy fun back into a genre that has become a little too serious of late.
That is disgusting!
So tell us about the backstory of the game.
He was part of this confederation, right? And he was pulling these hit jobs. And then something happens at the beginning of the game where kind of the crap hits the fan, and he winds up essentially exiled from them. He winds up kind of the edge of space. One thing leads to another, and somehow he and his buddies wind up crash landed on this alien planet that's filled with all sorts of nasty mutants, all sorts of horrible indigenous wildlife, and all sorts of crazy weapons.
Now, I know you mentioned that the weapons are way over the top. What are some of your personal favorites?
Well, the guys at People Can Fly had this 4-barrel shotgun that just sends enemies flying everywhere. And you can like kind of cut them in half, and you get a cool skill shot for that. There's a weapon called the Bouncer that launches kind of a giant cannonball, but then you can unleash it to just have it repeatedly hit in one location. And then you can kick guys into that, and you can pull the ball towards you. There's a gun that shoots 100 bullets at once, and if you like line up your enemies, you can kind of get a kebab and kind of kill them and get multiple skill shots with that, skill points. It's really a ton of fun. Some of the most unique weapons you've seen since the original Unreal Tournament.
Tell me more about the skill shots. I know those are a big component of the game.
Well, I mean, when you look at your average gamer when they play a game, they're just going for the path of least resistance. They're like, how can I kill this enemy as quickly as possible? In Bulletstorm, we encourage you to really play with the enemies, kind of like a cat would play with a mouse before it takes it out, right? So if I see an enemy, I'm like, oh, that's a point farm. I want to knock him up in the air, I want to kick him around, I want to take him out, get trap shooting score, and basically take those points and spend them on more cool stuff.
One of my favorite things about the game is the writing. It is absolutely hilarious.
Last train out of Explosion Town. What are you doing, fatty? Eating a bullet?
How did they decide to go that route with the game dialogue?
It's this guy named Rick Remender, and he's completely insane. He wrote this great series called Fear Age, and we were talking to all sorts of different writers, and when reading his style, it's just this great, pulpy style.
What exactly am I looking at here?
Whatever it is, your buddy's inside it.
No, his signal's coming from below.
Probably already him out.
Quit cheering me up and shoot it!
I mean, you're going to see this stuff quoted on forums for years to come.
Now, I know you guys are really known for the Unreal Engine, but People Can Fly had their own engine previously. Why did they decide that the Unreal Engine was the right way to go?
Yeah, People Can Fly had a certain amount of success with their engine. They did that great game, Painkiller. But we're at the point where it's 2010, and in order to develop a game, you need a set of tools that allows you to be ruthlessly efficient. And that's what Unreal Engine allows us to do. They did a great job on Gears of War PC. We worked with them on some other things, and then finally realized, like, hey, let's craft a new IP. You guys, let's see what you want to do, and let's see what makes the most sense, and let's see what's fun, and have a blast with it.
Problem solved!
Now, is there going to be a multiplayer or a co-op aspect to the game?
There's not going to be a versus. What we're going to have is a mode that we're calling Anarchy mode. It's a 4-player cooperative mode. A lot of people want to initially draw that kind of analogy to Gears of War's hard mode. It's really not the same thing in the fact that you're not trying to just survive. What you're trying to do is get to a certain point where you get to a certain score. And the way you do that is by cooperating with your buddies. If you kick them in the air and then I kick them and finish them off, then we get extra points. So we really encourage cooperative playing with your enemies in order to get nice scores, in order to kind of get past the gating to get to the next level.
What's Echo Mode?
So Echo Mode is a way that you can play the game where you take kind of the best little snippets and best combat sections from the campaign and play it as fast as you can to kind of get the best points that you can, and then play against your buddies, but kind of in an asynchronous way. So if you play the game like, on a Friday afternoon at, 5 o'clock and you get a certain score in the section, I log on that Saturday and I can see that you beat my score. And then I actually get notified that you beat my score. So I go online and it's like, oh, look, you're doing better than I did. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to go in that mode, I'm going to beat your score. And then you have this great game of one-upmanship amongst your friends.
What would you say were some of the biggest challenges in making this game?
God, the biggest challenge with this game, I think, was kind of getting to the point where we could develop an IP that was fun, something that was pulpy, but it wasn't really over the line, right? There's really a fine line there. If you look at where all the state of shooters are right now, it's this very serious, war never changes, war has changed. And it's like, you can kind of put a montage of all these military shooters together and be able to recognize them. They're great games, but at the same time, they take themselves so seriously. Bulletstorm's just like, screw that, let's just put a big boot in people's face, let's have crazy lines of dialogue, insane enemies, over-the-top weapons, just put the fun back in the first-person shooter. I just think it's hands down one of the most fun games I've played in years, and every time we go to a place, we're always hooting and hollering and figuring out all these great things we can do, and I'm really looking forward to the gamers getting hands-on with it.
With the biggest, most over-the-top weapons,
This place just keeps getting better!
alongside dialogue that will have you cracking up while you rack up the points shooting someone's head off, Bulletstorm is one of the most colorful and fun games we've laid our hands on in a while. And with the CliffyB seal of approval, it's bound to be an ass kicker.